peeps of YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Kat and you're watching Planning Calm, and here on this channel I love to share with you all the many ways I can help you plan your way to calm and plan a calmer life. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend some time with me. If you're new to the channel, hello, welcome. My name is Kat and I make planning and calm living content here on this channel. So if that is up your alley, I would love for you to give this video a like, if you like it of course, and to subscribe to the channel and being a part of the Calm fam. So your time is precious, so let's get into it. In this video, actually before I even continue, I do need to apologize. I am kind of full swing into a cold right now. I work as a high school teacher and everybody and their mama is sick right now. And so I knew it was going to be inevitable that I would catch this sickness as well. So if my voice sounds a little weird, I apologize in advance, but I wanted to spend some time with you folks and share this video. So this is my thinking notebook in front of me. And what this is essentially a notebook that I was about to donate. And excuse me. It was a notebook that I was about to donate, but I thought, hey, maybe I can rework it because I originally bought it because I love the design. I think I got it from Winners maybe, which is equivalent to your like TJ Maxx, Home Sense, Home Goods type situation. And I love the design, but I wanted to make this a purposeful book and I didn't want to throw it out. So what I did was, unintentional to me, I just turned it into kind of like a thinking notebook. And essentially what a thinking notebook is, it's a personal notebook that's used specifically to record your thoughts, ideas, questions, reflections, sketches, plans, anything that helps you to think through a problem or process a problem in order to find solutions for it. And so traditionally, a thinking notebook is often unstructured and it has like open-ended questions, and it's basically intended to support critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, and help support personal growth. And so when I think about kind of what I started using this book for, I had no idea about a thinking book concept until I watched one of my favorite YouTubers. I'll leave her channel link below. I'll also leave the video that I got this idea from below. Her name is Rachel in Theory. I've talked about her many times here on the channel. I absolutely love her. And I was going through this book and I came across this video as I watch her all the time. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm doing that already. This is kind of cool. So, I'm not anything special. I don't think I'm some genius for quote unquote inventing or creating this, because it's not an invention by me by any means. It's something that has been used, I'm sure, for a long time. But I find it funny that I was using this system and I didn't even know it was a system really. I kind of just thought it was a brain dump type thing, but it's actually a name for it, the thinking book. And I like to call mine the thinking notebook because I just love notebooks. So what I want to do is talk a little bit, show you kind of what I've been putting in here. Some of it's personal, so I'll have to skip through and skip over that. But I want to talk about some pros and cons to having a thinking book and how it might help you in your journey to calm living. So here we go. So now when I first picked up this book, I knew that like there was a number of problems in my life that I wanted to address. And to be honest, I don't even remember when I picked this up. I bought this notebook maybe 2 years ago, and I think I've just been pickling my way through it, just like whenever it comes to me. I just kind of throw my ideas in there. This lives in my nightstand, in my bedroom, in my nightstand. And so I kind of pick it up when I got things on my mind and I have things in the brain and I just want to get it out. So essentially it kind of is a brain dump, but more purposeful than a brain dump. And so, one of the pros to having a thinking book is that it does just that. It helps you think. It encourages deep thinking and it creates space to explore ideas without feeling pressure or judgment. And one of the things, being a planner person, is that I like to be perfect. I like to have neat and pretty and whatever. And this book is not that. This book is just all over the place. And that's how it's made. It's made to just, get the ideas on there and, just get you thinking. And so some of the things I've used it for, wow, this is old. But I used to struggle with anxiety and all that comes with that. Working on sleep because of the anxiety at the time. And I was just in a job that I hated, and boss was a you-know-what, and da-da-da-da-da. So it caused me certain things, and, I needed to get this out on paper to remind myself that as a Christian, I can draw on God to help me through these things. And that really helped to boost my, just my thinking and my healing process, which is great. Part of the problem solving. Next thing I love about a thinking notebook, and another pro, is that it boosts creativity. Just because you're able to, just kind of lay things out in a creative way. You can doodle, you can brainstorm, you can free write, you can kind of do whatever you want. And it doesn't really matter because it doesn't have to be neat or pretty, but you can just get your ideas out there and just have fun with it. And, another thing I love about this is that it tracks your mental growth. Again, somebody who's dealt with anxiety and dealt with different things in the past, over time, what you can do, and this is exactly what I did before I filmed this video, is that I looked back and I saw how my thoughts and beliefs and ideas have changed and evolved over time as I started to solve the problems that were plaguing me to write in the book in the first place. So I was able to think through and just kind of process and correct a lot of those issues, which I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to do. Also, one of the things I love about a thinking book is it reduces mental clutter. There's nothing like writing things down, folks. Like, here, I don't know what was raging me this day, but I needed to get it out. It was in my head, in my thoughts. There's things that I needed to talk about to myself in my head, and writing it down just clears my mind, and it helps reduce overthinking, which I am notorious for doing. Comment down below if you're an overthinker as well. And when doing that, the fifth benefit is that it improves your focus and clarity, because when you get it down, you can address it, you can look at it, and then you can start to solve the problems that are making you feel this way. Now, for me here, I just talked about why I'm unhappy, and it all stemmed from just a place of being ungrateful for the things that I had. I was putting my mind and my focus on things that were not actionable, and I needed to focus on things that I could do, and that was making me feel better, focusing on the things that I can do as opposed to the things I have no control over. And that is why it's such a great tool to support problem solving, just for me anyway. Comment down below if you're like this as well. But like, for instance, this was Thanksgiving, and I was just, I felt so overwhelmed. I was overthinking everything, and and this was probably a year or two ago. I don't even remember when I wrote this, but it's okay because it all worked out. Because when you use a thinking book to problem solve, it just writing out a problem and finding brainstorming solutions helps you to arrive at better answers that help to correct the problem and the issue. And, something as simple as just getting it down on paper and like, okay, this is the event that I'm working around. These are the things I have to do. Just putting it out in this visual just kind of helped me put things into perspective and allowed me to get it done. And it was just so great. Now, I had to skip over some things because there's some little personal stuff in here. I did want to point out how, when I originally saw Rachel's video, I actually kind of took some notes in the back of this, and, kind of like what a thinking book is and how it works. And a couple of things she mentioned that really struck out to me. I love this because, and this is where the privacy part comes in that I can't really show you, but, it helps me to really just, jot things down and really focus on solution-based. Mr. Calm is somebody he has an engineering mind, and he's very, bam, 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 black and white when it comes to a lot of things, because he has a math science mind focus where I do not. And one of the things he always says is, what is the solution? What is the solution? Let's think of a solution. Let's not dwell on the problems and think of the solution. And every time I pick up this book, I think about him, and I think about what he always says, because it's true. Like, dwelling on the problem is not going to get you where you want to be. Finding solutions will. And so instead of coming and feeling burnt and tired and overwhelmed and then ending up doom scrolling on your phone after a long day at work, or a fight with your spouse, or screaming at your kids, comment down below if you know what I'm saying, if you can relate. having a thinking notebook allows you just to kind of get that stuff out. And, you know, one of the she did say was the difference between a book and a journal, because I kind of thought this was a journal that I was doing, is that a thinking book focuses on the outcome, where a journal can be a little bit more reflective. So kind of after things are done, you're taking the time to focus on and reflect on things that have transpired already, or things that have come to pass. And I just thought that was kind of interesting, her thought on that. And, you know, like I said, it's about solving problems and making a decision. And one of the things I thought about when I was watching her video was just really thinking about it, like if I think about it as a linear process, you know, the thinking notebook or thinking notebook is kind of like, it's your juncture point, your starting spot, where you're kind of thinking about things, you're getting all those things out of your mind, bam, onto paper, and you're kind of chronicling it over time until you accomplish the task or the event has taken place, and then the journal will come in after the fact, and you kind of get to reflect on that stuff. And so, yeah, I just loved thinking about it in that way. That's kind of my own piece of the pie there. And, you know, just another note here, a thinking notebook is where you work through the problem and then move to the ideas to the final place. And I think this is where, you know, I love this concept in that, you know, like, for somebody who's a perfectionist and neat and pretty and organized, I love the fact I can just get all the stuff out here. Don't have to worry about neatness or prettiness or colors or stickers or anything. And then, you know, when I want to make it into an actionable thing that I'm going to accomplish, I can then put it in my planner or put it in my, you know, my piece that I can like track its progress, that it's done. I've taken action. It's good to go. I'm ready. One of the things I love to do is, you know, when we're talking about planning our way to calm and planning in general, it's really important to look at both sides. And I presented you with the pros of having a thinking notebook, but let's look at some cons. And probably one of the first things I can, you know, hear my brother saying this right now is, you know, how time consuming a thinking notebook could be. And, you know, you have to get into the habit of writing regularly, and it takes discipline and time. And if you're really, really busy, or if you're somebody who just doesn't want another thing on their plate, it can feel like a chore, and you don't want that. You want this to be impactful and effective for you. Another thing is that it can be disorganized. You know, some people, they can't deal with having like non-structured things. Like for me, sometimes I know this is a dumping book, but I'm like, oh, I should have put this over here with this because I'm talking about, you know, this thing, and I should have lined it. But that's not what this book is about. It's about just getting it out there. So it doesn't have to align with or be grouped with X, Y, and Z. I don't have any tabs on it. I don't have anything. This is just, you know, thinking at its finest, you know, just getting it down. Now, a big thing, you know, that is really important to me is the third con, and that is a privacy risk. This book is not secure. It's very personal, has a lot of sensitive thoughts and feelings in here. A lot of it I can't even show you on this channel because it's just me blurred out. And so I have to keep this. This is why it's not out on display in my living room. It's tucked away, locked in my nightside table because it is private. It's private. And because of that, there is a privacy risk to that. And as I'm turning the pages, I'm like checking to make sure, you know, just, you know, privacy. And the next con that I can see happening, even with myself, is that it can lead to over analysis. And, you know, some people like myself can have, it can just easily spiral into overthinking about something. So instead of using this book for what it's originally intended for, which is providing you with mental clarity, it can do the opposite, and you spiral into just overanalyzing everything, overthinking everything, and, you know, not getting the benefits of this book as you should. You know, again, I so much in here like this. Yeah. It's just, it's crazy how much stuff just comes to your mind that you have to get on here. And I just realized, you know, like I have addressed all these issues. You know, it started with a thought of wanting to not be fat anymore and to take control of my life and to do certain things and take accountability and responsibility for the actions that have led me to this spot. And, you know, it's interesting looking back on all these. Again, don't even remember when I wrote this, but this has just been so helpful. Now, the last con that could really affect you or impact you is inconsistent use. You know, you might start off strong and have all the right intentions of writing things down and addressing it and doing the things you need to do. But, you know, with life happens and it's easily abandoned and you just don't have the time to address it. And that could lead to feelings of guilt and resentment and failure if it's something that you intended to carry on with, but you just didn't have the time to, or whatever the case is. But, you know, it's okay. It is okay, because like I said, the purposes of this book is to help you solve those problems that you want to address, get things done that you need to get done, and just to help you be a launch pad into taking action in your life. And because of that, I've just been really loving this type of book. Now, again, I'm sorry I couldn't show you everything in here because, like I said, everything is private, or most things are private in here. But I hope what I did show you kind of gives you some ideas as to how you can use the notebook and how you can use a thinking notebook to really just start to take action in your life. You know, if you're feeling like you're stuck or in a rut, pick up an old notebook. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, folks, by any means. And just start writing it down. Whatever problems you're having, write them down. And I'm telling you, this process will help to get your stuff done, if you know what I mean. And it's just so impactful, so powerful in changing your life for the better. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I apologize for my sickness and my stuffiness, but teacher life, there it is. But thank you so much for being with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. And until the next time, my friends, take care, be well, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next planner video. Comment down below and let me know how you're doing, folks. Don't forget to do that. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care, friends.